All right, guys. It's yeah. We are gonna have to cover for Spitfire again. Now, the Deb Jordan interview. Um, any of my mods know have the newest Alaska Bob, Thor? Do you either one of you have the link to where it was? The interview. I can't seem to find it. I'm looking, and I'll get that going. And when it's done, then we'll get Spitfire and everybody in here. That's the way he said he wanted it. I think he's thinking about trashing his computers as best he can. All right, maybe hold on. Hold on. Here we are. Okay, guys, we're going to start it from the top, and we're going to see about Eric's a boxer, so you know he's wanting to hit the damn thing. All right, this is what. Sorry about the noise, guys. I'm moving the mic over closer to my speakers so we can hear the interview, guys. Ready, set, blow.
On the line, we've got Deb Jordan. She is a co-host for the Pete Santilli Show, and we had opportunity to speak quite lengthy yesterday. She provided some documents that we're going to talk about today, and about what's going on there in Oregon. We got Deb Jordan there, not only even among, I guess we could say, some of the citizens, but the sheriff's office, all the way up to the governor's office, and including welcome to Northwest Liberty News.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me on today.
Sure. It's our pleasure. To get things kind of started, we talked specifically in terms of what was going on with Pete, but then we dealt with some of the other issues. So let's, as they expanded out and we got into some of the history was there, some of the things that even the independent media, for large measure, has not really brought out. But you sent me some documents. One of them is I don't know, it's like 60 pages or so from the judge out in Oregon that considers Pete really a threat, want to keep him in jail. And as you just read through, say, the first 4 or 5 pages, it reads like something you would read in a comment section, of an article in what we might call a troll. I think that was how you put it. And I can see that of just all kinds of things of saying, he was doing this, that, and the other, as far as intimidating and threatening law enforcement at Bundy Ranch, when the exact opposite could be shown from the feds. So do you want to elaborate a little bit on that as to, because you're close there with Pete, can you elaborate a little bit on what he's been through and how this whole thing is set up and where we're at now as far as with Pete and his detention?
Right. Well, he was arrested on January the 26th, the same day that they ambushed a convoy that held Ammon Bundy and his group in his vehicle, and Leroy Fennekim and his group. They were headed to a place that's a town that's known as John Bay. It's the next county close to it's called Grant County, and it's the neighboring county to Harney County, which is where Ammon took over the Malheur Refuge. So they were headed there. They were taking some documents to the sheriff. They were having a town meeting. And Pete was arrested when he was, after he found out that somebody had been killed in the convoy. He really felt that the FBI was going to go to that refuge and kill the people that were there. He really felt that. So he decided that he was going to go to the FBI and ask them if they would please let him go up and try to get the women and children out of the refuge, and anybody else who wanted to go before that could happen. And they arrested him after a few minutes, pretending to listen to him, and they arrested him. He was taken to Oregon, Portland, Oregon, where he was charged with the same charge that everybody else was, and that's conspiracy to impede government workers from being able to do their job, and hold a 6-year penalty. So we've been dealing with that. That's the initial charge, and we've been trying to get him out on a pretrial release, and they're being quite stubborn about it. Even though Pete never spent a day on that refuge as part of the takeover, nor did he ever spend a night there. He never carried a weapon. The only thing he carried was a bullhorn, and he was quite loud about that. He never agreed with what they had done, how they had done it. And he was very adamant about that too. He said from the very beginning, that he did not condone taking over a wildlife refuge, but he supported the message. And he knew at the time, because alternative media had taken such a little interest in what was going on there, that the people there were in danger of losing their life at any moment. So he decided to stay and cover the story and find out what was really happening, because we'd only been there a couple of days and we really didn't know what was happening on the ground. And the things that we uncovered and burned, Oregon, which is situated in Harney County, Oregon, what we found out was going on there was a gross abuse of power by not only the federal government, but by the local officials.
Deb, this is Jim. Thanks again for being on here today. I got kicked off there briefly. Do you, as you correctly stated, Pete didn't really promote violence or even have a weapon. Do you think this is really basically an attack overall just on alternative media altogether? Because in a lot of ways, we're killing them, because the mainstream media, of course, is beholden to the powers that be. And that's one of the great things about the alternative media is we're not generally. So they really, I think we're hurting them in that aspect. Do you see that as this is being sort of maybe an attempt to have a chilling effect on other alternative medias such as ours?
Well, if it's not purposefully being done for that, it definitely that will be the end result. And I think that's what we can take away from this and be aware of. People need to be aware of the fact that what happens with Keith Santilli here will affect what you see on YouTube, what you see on Facebook, what you see on independent media all across the board on the internet. It's going to affect that. It already has in a certain way, and I know a lot of people are just, already afraid to even talk about this, about what's happening there, for fear that they're going to get caught up. And there's always been that fear in alternative media. We know that. I mean, there's always that fear that the government is watching you, because you are covering stories that mainstream media won't, and most of us cover these stories with a passion for the people that are being abused. Instead of the other way around. Most people in alternative media, except for a few that have come out here in the last few weeks against Pete in alternative media, usually will not side with the government, and they will tell the other side of the story. And that's exactly what the United States government doesn't want to happen. As a matter of fact, right now today they're having a hearing. They decided that the second Wednesday of every month, that they would meet with the judge. All of the attorneys and all of the accused would meet with the judge and with the prosecutors too, in tow. That they would meet with the judge and talk about their progress. It's called a progress hearing. So they're having one of those today, which Ammon Bundy came out in an interview, a live interview with KTU, I believe, there in Oregon, saying that today they were going to bring up, the prosecution was going to bring up the idea of putting a gag order on him and everyone else who's being held prisoner there, so that they can't talk about their side of the story anymore to mainstream media or independent media, or put out any kind of message on for alternative media or mainstream media. So that we're going to find out any moment whether that gag order was actually granted to the prosecution.
Well, I've got an update. If I can provide an update here, I spoke earlier today, and she'll be on the show on Friday. Representative, I believe she's a representative in Nevada, Michelle Fiore. I think that's her title, representative. You're probably familiar with Michelle Fiore, I'm sure, Deb.
I speak with Michelle Fiore every single day.
I think she said she spoke. I think she said she spoke to you this morning, as a matter of fact, when I talked to her. Mm-hmm. Now, you probably know the information I'm about to relay to you. It's fantastic information for those people that were in that compound and anybody even at the Bundy Ranch. There's a very large and well-moneyed law firm in Nevada that represents unions are taking up the cause of the people at the ranch and the people that were at the Bundy Ranch, because it behooves them to do so, because one of their previous tactics is to, have peaceful sit-ins at federal buildings to be able to get, to further their agenda, and they don't want to lose that as a possibility. So I think that is fantastic news. That even though it's a union, strange bedfellows, as Michelle had said, it's kind of really weird that a union would come on, because they're generally opposed politically, but it's really good to see them stepping up, and I'm just delighted that other good people are standing up against the feds, going, listen, this is not right.
It is, and when she told me that, there's a little bit of, they have to time it and get the logistics right. They have to get signatures from those who want this law firm to represent, and that's in the works right now. But it does make a strange bedfellows, doesn't it? I mean, early on when Pete was arrested, the ACLU of Oregon chimed in, and
I saw that.
Wrong. Yeah, so they're watching the case very closely. They put out a public statement almost immediately. Also, I know that at the Oregon Public Broadcasting, there is a reporter there that is also on Pete's side. Now, I got to tell you, these people cannot stand Pete. They can't stand him. They say he's polarizing, he's a loudmouth, and he's an instigator and all those things. But they said, we start shutting people like Pete Santilli down. How long is it going to be before they shut us down? Because this is a tactic that's used. Hello?
Yeah, you're still going.
No, we're here. Go ahead.
Okay, good. I'm getting beeps here. This is a tactic that they also use. They get loud, they get obnoxious, to get their causes heard, And they also understand that Pete is kind of diverse. He's not exactly like everybody else in alternative media, where he just lands on one side. He represented in Baltimore. We were there for almost 3 weeks in Baltimore, standing with the people there, telling the other side of the story, is that, constitutional rights were being trampled on in that city. Corruption ran deep in that city. We ran a live stream for almost 3 weeks straight, and we uncovered that story. And we talked with the people on the street. We gave them a voice, just like we do everywhere else that we go. And so they saw that in Pete, and they also, see that he's a very passionate speaker. And he, when he picks up a cause, he's all in.
Deb, we're coming to a hard break here. Sorry to cut you off. We can certainly pick this up on the other side. This is James White with Northwest Liberty News, along with my co-host Tim Brown, and we will be back after these brief messages.
You've probably been to a grocery store to stock up on supplies before a weather event, right? Were the milk racks empty? A 3-day storm is one thing, but a long-term grid-down panic is entirely another. So why would you buy milk that needs refrigeration when foodforliberty.com has Numanna's long-term storable milk powder? All milk powder is hormone-free.
I am not a... sorry for the Northwest Liberty News. I am not a... my channel is not monetized, so having commercials like this, not the greatest thing. So hopefully I don't get copyrighted. I get copyrighted just for the damn hold music in my conference call. So
70LIBERTY.
Okay, welcome back to Northwest Liberty News. I'm your host, James White, along with my co-host, Tim Brown, and we're joined today by Deb Jordan, who's the co-host of the Pete Santilli Show. But before we get back to the interview, we want to give a shout-out to some of our affiliates. I want to say hello to everyone at KLFE 1590 in Seattle, WTWZ in Jackson, Mississippi, all of the fine stations on the American Christian Network and the Liberty Broadcast Network, and all of our friends over at TalkNetwork.com, Mike Adams' fine network. So as I said, we're back here with Deb Jordan, and we kind of got cut off there at the break. Deb, you want to go ahead and pick back up where you left off?
Yeah, I was just saying that, you know, Pete is really diverse in the stories that he will cover. If he sees that people are being treated poorly by our government, by what he calls the police state, you know, he will show up there and he will stand with them. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, and it doesn't matter what organization that you belong to. And, you know, he's been very adamant about being that kind of reporter from the very beginning. And so we go to these different places. Now, we got a lot of blowback from the Patriot community for going to Baltimore and standing with the people there. But we had to do it because we wanted to know what was happening. And then, of course, we get a lot of blowback when we cover issues like land management, things like that. We get it from the environmentalists. But I will tell you this, if we thought for 1 minute that, you know, a group of environmentalists were having their constitutional rights trampled on, we would stand with them too. It's not about their issue. It's about them having the right to be heard. You know, and of course, pointing out some of the misgivings we have about some of the things that they do. But, yeah, that's the kind of guy that he is. And the ACLU sees that. And there's a reporter at the I believe it's the Oregon Public Broadcasting Channel there. Pete got all over him at the refuge. He got all over him for miscommunicating an idea that Pete thought was unfair. And, you know, he has, whether he likes Pete or not is not the issue, but he has come to Pete's aid and said this isn't right. So even he sees that. So, you know, those are some of the accomplishments that we've made. But our big story, when we got there and after we learned about what was happening to the people in Burns, kind of got buried under all of the refuge stuff, you know. And there was a story there that needed to be told, and the people needed to have a voice, and I think Pete Santilli gave it to them. And I believe that was very detrimental to his safety and his liberty. And he knew it, but he did it anyway. He got their story out.
Yeah, Deb, part of that I covered as well. We talked about that yesterday, where, you know, 60% of that area right there works for the BLM. And you and I had this conversation. It was almost surreal. It was like I don't know. I'm trying to think. There's an old film or an old book that I've seen or read in which there is this shunning of people in town, and you would talk about how people who, weren't on the government payroll, if you will, and conducted their businesses, if they spoke out, if they took a stand or any of this, the people would shun them, they'd blackball them, they would not support their businesses, they would even cross the street not to walk on the same sidewalk beside them and things of this nature. And you talked about sort of this feel of communism there that, and we have in some of the emails back and forth from the people in the governor's office and stuff, to where everything is being that went on here in Oregon, and I want to kind of push in a little bit, but I want to let you speak to this. Everything that was going through the governor's office, and even down to the times of the press conferences, what Sheriff Ward was saying, and all of this was being handled through the governor's office. You want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, when we got the emails, and I'm not sure whether those emails were leaked or whether she or her office released them, but when you go through it, there's like 610 pages of emails. And you're correct. Every one of these emails was centered around what they were going, how they were going to pose this in the media. It was all about marketing, all about keeping the governor's name out of everything until the very end, of course, and all about making everyone look good on the ground. It was PR work, and it was just amazing to me that they didn't show any concern for the lives that they were putting in jeopardy because they refused to negotiate or speak with or show any kind of civil, to have any kind of civil conversation with somebody like Ammon Bundy. He wanted desperately for these people to sit down with him. How much difference would it have made if instead of Kate Brown worrying about her reputation and worrying about the reputation of the FBI and Sheriff Ward, how much difference would it have made if she would have come and sat down with Ammon Bundy and said, let's talk about this and let me see what you're talking about here, and show a real concern to these ranchers and these people in this town who are being oppressed by not only a local government, but by the federal government. And there was a huge story. Remember, 60% of the people in that county work for the BLM. So, but that still leaves 40% of the people who don't have a voice. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. And that's the story that Pete and I were covering and we uncovered.
Yeah, and you were saying people were frightened to even, but they were so thankful that you guys were covering the story. I mean, people were just petrified.
Yeah, people keep asking, why did Pete stay? Why did he stay? He stayed because that 40% was begging him to. They begged him not to leave, that they finally had a voice. They were finally being heard. And this had nothing to do with the Out Here Refuge. Nothing to do with it. This had everything to do with the people in that town and in that county who are being beaten by a government that is overreaching, and in the form of the BLM and the National Wildlife Service. These people can't do anything, Tim. They cannot move without feeling the boot on the back of their neck. And that is the God's honest truth.
From my research, I found that one of the reasons that they're really so adamant about continuing to keep hold of the land out west specifically, out in the east of the Mississippi, the government doesn't own nearly as much property, which they're not allowed to own out here as they do out west, which they're not allowed to own either. But what I'm understanding is, I don't know if you've got these numbers as well, from your research, I found that there's about 51 to $55 trillion worth of resources underneath the ground out here out west. And that is one of the reasons that they have such a tight grip on this whole land grab thing, is because of the resources and because of the collateral that they have to put up for the excessive debt, they have to collateralize those resources. Have you guys found anything, any validity to that, what I just said in your research?
Yeah, absolutely. That is the key factor in this whole thing. And as it is all over the west of the southwest of the United States of America, it is very rich in minerals and, oh my gosh, I mean, it's just fertile land. Even if it's in the high desert, you know, lithium and just, I mean, you name it, it's out there, and they want it. What's really sad about this is that the environmentalists who, you know, just keep begging for more and more government to oversee these lands, they really do believe that the government is protecting those lands for them, and they're going to keep them clean and beautiful and peopleless, cowless, you know. And what's really, they refuse to see what's really happening here. And I'm not talking about the guys like, you know, this Karen Suckling who came up to the refuge, and, you know, he was quite aggressive up there, and Pete got quite aggressive back with him, by the way. He didn't like it, but he did. So, you know, I'm talking about not those kind of people who are the heads of all of these. I'm talking about the people that are under them who truly believe that, you know, cows are hurting the land and people are hurting the land. Those people really do believe that they're hurting the earth, and they want them gone. And of course, it serves the Native Americans out there because they don't want anybody on that, you know, on that land. They consider it sacred. They don't want anyone there. So it serves them to be in alignment with the government and the environmentalists out there. So, you know, it's quite amazing that they don't even realize that in the end, the government is going to be digging up all of that anyway. They are the ones who will, in the end, someday, and probably someday very, very soon, they'll be the ones that will be strip mining that area and taking all the natural resources out of it and killing off the wildlife.
Well, Deb, that's one of the things, you know, back in February, I did a story that's about 2 or 3 years old. I don't know if you've heard of it, of John and Nicole Crossman, who had staked a claim. And of course, even though it may be considered quote unquote federal land, and we're coming up on a break here shortly, they were told the whole idea by this BLM agent that addressed them, and she was arrested, that the BLM's authority superseded that of the Constitution. We're coming up on a break here. So, Jim, I'm going to kick it over to you, and we'll pick it up on the other side.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, we appreciate you joining us here on Northwest Liberty News. We're just at the end of this segment. We'll be back after these brief messages with Deb Jordan.
Sorry again, guys. It's little old me again. I don't want to get copyright, so sorry, Northwest Liberty News and everything like that. My channel is non-monetized, so I don't want to get any issues on that. And it's the milk racks thing again.
Long-term grid down panic is entirely another. So why would you buy milk and use refrigeration? Foodforliberty.com has bananas.
It's always good to hear. I copied and pasted the information for all the patriots in prison that Eric had on his channel. It's down below mine, so you send them letters, send them books, just send them love. Because being in solitaire, for those who are still there, is a horrible thing. I've been in solitaire before. It's not fun.
Okay, welcome back to Northwest Liberty News. I'm your host, James White, along with my co-host, Tim Brown. I just want to remind the listeners out there that this broadcast is 100% listener supported. So if you like what you hear from Tim and I and you want to help us get the word out, please visit foodforliberty.com. That's foodforliberty.com. invernessdriveinc.com. There's all different varieties of storable foods, iodine, water filters, all different kinds of good stuff for your preparedness and prepper needs. And all the proceeds go directly to support the show. So once again, visit foodforliberty.com whenever you can. All right, we're back here with Deb Jordan, and we appreciate you joining us today. And we've been talking about well, a variety of things. And I know, Tim, there's something that you wanted to touch on. So I'm going to kick it over to you, my brother.
Yeah, I was just quickly making mention, and I think, Jim, you have done some articles. I know we have some articles that we've done at the Washington Standard and also Freedom Outpost with regards to those resources. And part of that was uranium, and people have seen in the news the Clinton Foundation has been tied to that, selling uranium to the Russians. And some of that land is rich in uranium that Deb has been talking about. And I made mention of Nicole and John Crossman, who had a claim on the land, and their claim, people didn't understand, that was for the resources that they had discovered there. And they had a BLM agent. They arrested Miss Crossman, and because she wouldn't provide her ID, even though her claim was nailed to the tree, and the BLM agent should have known that. And the BLM agent told her, my authority supersedes the Constitution of the United States. Now, that's not hearsay. That was in court documents from back in 2012. And it's amazing the tyranny that goes in. But considering the BLM is here, and we're talking about Pete, we're talking about the Oregon issue, we brought up some of the issues around that. Deb, I just want to reference real quick this memorandum by the judge in Pete's case, and let everybody know that Pete is not charged with something out in Oregon. These charges, these arrests that are taking place are from 2 years ago. And one of the things here's what the judge says, and I'll try to be brief and then kick it over to you to tell kind of what's gone on from there. The judge says,
I need to tell you this. This is a memorandum not by the judge. This is a memorandum that they're using. This is the prosecution out of Nevada, the prosecutor out of Nevada.
Okay, my fault.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to make that clear because they have presented this to the judge as a way to keep Pete detained and not get a pretrial release.
Okay, yeah, thank you for that clarification. This is what they're saying. They're saying Santilli was a key player in the buildup, organization, execution, an unprecedented, massive armed assault. Now think about that, folks. When did you see any assault on federal law enforcement officers at Bundy Ranch? You didn't see it. You saw people stand. They were armed, no doubt about that. There was no assault. Nobody was firing bullets. Nobody engaged in any violent activity. Everything was peaceful. Everything was a protest. And it goes on to say that they were engaged against federal law enforcement officers in this armed assault on April 12, 2014, and set out in the superseding criminal indictment, in which he is named as a principal organizer and leader of a criminal enterprise. Santilli is charged with knowingly joining a criminal conspiracy to threaten and use force and violence against law enforcement officers in order to extort 400 head of cattle from their care and custody. And they list all kinds of things like him recruiting gunmen, threatening violence, leading to an assault on a BLM convoy, conducting reconnaissance of hotels, threatening the BLM, inciting followers and gunmen. But what they don't say is the real assault was coming from the BLM. They're not telling you that 300 federal agents were surrounding these peaceful protesters who had never uttered threats or any of that stuff. They're not telling you about how they corralled these people and violated their First Amendment right that are supposed to be protected under the Constitution to protest their government into First Amendment zones, which the Constitution knows nothing of. They're not telling you about the numerous heads of cattle that the BLM destroyed and were found. They're not telling you about the number of people who were tased who simply wanted to protest. And this is the thing they're putting against Pete. And all Pete did was say, you know what? Our Constitution has something in it in which it calls for the militia, quote, the militia, not the federal government, not the BLM or anybody, the citizens militia to, quote, execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. And when these people came out to take their stand, they were taking the place of the militia. I know they're not fully constitutional militia, but the fact of the matter is they were taking a stand against a tyrannical government with the rights protected under the Second Amendment to keep a free state. And now we have these things coming up against Pete. Tell us what's happened as a result. They brought these things up against Pete. They've argued he shouldn't be released. What's happened to Pete since?
Well, his attorney got that memorandum late Friday night. He was out of town over the weekend, so he wasn't able to look it over and see the weight of the thing. 60 pages of just downright, skewed opinion, no evidence whatsoever. Just like you said in the very beginning of this broadcast, it was more like that they went on the internet to all of the articles that were putting out and just pulled a bunch of troll stuff off the internet. In one part of it, they even say that Pete Santilli was a shill for Clive and Bundy. You know, I found that very offensive and very troll-like. You know, any of us who are in independent media know, when we have to do our work mostly on the internet, we know what that kind of language is like and where that comes from. You know, so yeah, the whole thing felt like very trollish, very. They just threw everything they could out there, including the kitchen sink, to see if it would stick to Pete. And, the problem is that this judge is very liberal. Portland, Oregon, and the county that it's in is a very liberal county, very liberal city. So, they're throwing this stuff out there. So she looks at that, and this all has to do with guns. And the minute she sees that, they know that that's going to alarm her. And, she will likely rule in favor of the Nevada prosecutor. And so what they're doing here is Judge Brown, Anna Brown, who is going to be presiding over the whole case throughout the trial, for all of the men and women, she granted Pete a partial release, meaning that she was open to him going to a halfway house with a GPS monitor so that he could go out during the day and earn a living, and work on his case and have a little bit more liberty. It would be a very strict atmosphere, but they would see how he would do, and then hopefully down the line release him so that he could come back to Cincinnati. And of course, he'd be still under GPS monitor, but he would be home. And the prosecution is fighting very hard to keep that from happening. They want Pete to sit in jail because I'll tell you guys, we've looked at the case law and something like this, and somebody with Pete's background who's never had any problems with law enforcement. He was arrested one time when he was 18 years old. That has come out in court, regardless of what some of these people are saying out there on the internet. He was arrested when he was 18 for changing the marquee in town, in his hometown, to say something not so very nice.
He's such a bad boy.
Yeah, he was held accountable for that. But he was in the Marine Corps. He was honorably discharged. Pete is a disabled veteran. They even tried to say in there that the stuff that they're throwing out in this whole thing is just unbelievable. They're just trying to demonize his character. And it's so like everything that he has put up with in the last 3 years from some certain people out there. It's like they've picked up their narrative, like somebody's feeding the prosecution a way to go, as far as Pete's character goes. And we all know that most of that is just hyperbole and just thrown out there because people like to demonize other people. And that there's no real teeth to it. but they're using all of that. And, Pete is, we're going to have to fight it. And I just think that's really, it's really sad that the possibility is great that Pete is going to sit in jail for the next 3 years in Oregon fighting this, when in the end, as case law shows, that somebody with Pete's background is usually granted probation if they're found guilty. Even if he were found guilty, he would be a candidate for probation. Over and over and over again, the government has done that in the case of Oregon. Now, in Nevada, it's a different story in Nevada, but there's a lot of support in Nevada, and the prosecutor knows that, and he doesn't want Pete, he doesn't want Pete to get the chance to be extradited to Nevada where there's going to be support.
Yeah, and if I can, real quick, in case people think that Deb is using hyperbole concerning this memorandum, I just want to give that quote of that sentence. Here's what it says, quote, Santilli served in the role of Bundy's shield, propagandist, recruiter, inciter of others, and foot soldier, a role he served until his arrest and one he will likely resume if he is released. But you know what? None of that is true. Pete just simply informed people of what was going on. He wanted people to come stand with the Bundys, and people responded to that. There's nothing wrong with that against standing against tyranny. Our forefathers did it, and my goodness, if they're going to say that about Santilli, then we need to start bringing forth what our forefathers did in the face of Governor Thomas Gage in Massachusetts and running off the dragoons with the militiamen. We need to talk about them fighting against the breakup of their assemblies and all of these other things. So you're not exaggerating things when you say they use this troll-like language. And we got a break coming up here shortly. Jim, you want to take us into that?
Sure, absolutely. We appreciate you joining us here on Northwest Liberty News. I'm James White, along with my co-host Tim Brown, and we're joined by Deb Jordan, and we're going to be talking, I think, on the other side of the break. We can talk, if you don't mind, Deb, I'd like to talk about what we can do to sort of support Pete, because, really alternative media is being attacked here. If you want to give out, we'll also give you a chance to give out your websites and stuff like that, and we get back on the other side. Thanks so much. Join us after this break.
All right, there's the another break. I think it's the milkmaid again. Not sure. Now, I've been finding out information. All those who are trying to help Pete and all the all the people who are helping the Patriots on the outside. You got Deb, you got Staff Sergeant Mo, you got Kenny even. You just need, if you can, only if you can, help them out financially, because it is a big financial drain on them. And this commercial is going to go on for a while. Sorry about this, guys, but again, I don't want copyright laws and get this message messed up in any way because of any advertisement and somebody complaining about it. It's my bad on that. And when this is done, Eric will be joining us.
You can save 5% right now off the entire Natural News store by using discount code JAMES at shopforliberty.com. Everything is non-GMO, laboratory tested for heavy metals, and it's fulfilled from Central Texas. Just be sure to mention discount code JAMES to save 5% off everything. We've got several great items, including chemical-free insect repellent, ultra-clean whey protein, chemical-free shampoo and soap. And
oh, they tricked me. I thought they were going right back. All right.
Off everything. Now, Jim, before we get into the break, I believe you were asking Deb about
here we are.
Something about solutions, how we can help, and things of that nature. You want to pose those questions to her?
Yeah, I would, Deb. I'd like you to give out, if you can, any website information that you have. I gotta believe, I know that there's a fund, I think, set up for Pete's legal defense. I saw that. I don't know exactly what that link is, but if you don't mind, go ahead and give out the websites where you can hear your broadcast. I'm assuming you're still broadcasting without Pete. I would assume, until he gets back. And
Well-
any websites or information you can give us. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. Actually, I'm not broadcasting. While there's no official gag order yet, they've effectively been able to do that. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, I am being monitored and listened to and watched. So I am not putting out any kind of broadcast for fear of saying something that will hurt, Pete's case. I want to be very careful about, what I say and how I say it. So, they have effectively shut us down and on our YouTube channels, which, of course, that is how we generate our funds. And so, it's quite worrisome, and they've done this to quite a few people, so I'm not the only one. And so I have to be careful about that. So you can go back and visit our YouTube channel and look at our past. Go back and look at our live streaming from Burns, Oregon, and get a better understanding of what happened there, all the way from day one to the very end where Pete was arrested. And then, but for monetary support, you can go to the PeteSantilliShow.com/donate. I've set up a support page there that explains what Pete's mission was in Burns, Oregon, and some of the things that he uncovered, and it gives a clear understanding of what he went through and what they're doing to him now. And then all of our links to donate are there. He does have a public defender, but I am working closely with Tom Cohen. That's the name of his attorney. We do have a paralegal, and there is an investigator, and we have a couple of other people that are contributing. We had to scour through many hours of video and releases and written word to give to Tom, so that he can go back and hear the whole story and present the whole story instead of just the excerpts and the things that have been taken out of context by now not only the prosecutor Ethan Knight from Portland, but now the Nevada prosecutor is also doing the same thing. So there's a lot of work to be done, and I stay quite busy with that. I'm consumed by it. And so, we definitely use help because all of our income has been cut off. So, we would appreciate any kind of support out there that people, could give us at this time. So you could go to the Pete Santilli Show /donate. To the PeteSantilliShow.com /donate, and that will take you to all of our links, and it'll give you some information there about what Pete's going through. So.
Yeah, and not only that, I'm noticing that you also have the address if people want to offer some, encouragement and support for Pete. You've also got the address for the jail there where they can write him, which I'm going to sit down tonight and write a letter as well. And yeah, those things are vitally important for him because, even though I didn't agree with someone like Adam Kokesh's stand and the way he did it, I agreed with the principle. Nobody really had a way, as far as I know, to really reach him, and he was held for like over 100 days or something, and he came out really a lot different. And of course, I know they haven't done quite the same thing with Pete, but people, if you want to help donate to help Pete and also encourage him, go to the PeteSantilliShow.com /donate.
Yeah, he can also, if you want to. There's not much to do there. So you can also go to Amazon using his address, and you can order books for him. And Pete is an avid reader anyway. He's a consumer of information. So he really appreciates the books that are being sent, and they have to be bought and they have to be shipped by Amazon. But he is most appreciative of that, and he's also appreciative of any prayers that anybody might give him. He's up against Goliath here, and it's going to be a long road for us. You know, it's just going to be tough.
Amen.
It's quite evident that they are really going after him.
Well, you know, I was delighted to see, we're finding here more, especially a guy like Donald Trump has come out, and I'm not necessarily throwing my lot behind Donald Trump. I'm just using him as a example. He has come out, I believe, about 3 weeks ago, and he has even stated that the BLM is oppressive, and they're sort of, and I'm paraphrasing, out of hand, and they need to be put in check. They need to be reined in. Do you hold out? I know that's not the end all be all, but do you hold out hope that a guy like him and others, and the movement of awakening is accelerating? I think at a point where I think the powers that be really didn't expect it. Do you see the public opinion? I mean, do you see the public opinion perhaps going over that, crossing that Rubicon where people finally wake up and go, you know something? They got this whole Lavoy Finicum new video came out. I'm not sure if you saw that, but you wonder, they really who is the criminals? I mean, the ones that are dressed up in their riot gear, or the ones that are sitting in jail right now. I mean, I submit to you that I feel a lot safer with Ammon Bundy and his people on the streets than I do getting pulled over on a traffic stop. I can tell you that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no kidding.
And
Well, listen, you guys, I mean,
by the way, people can see that video, Jim, at your website, northwestlibertynews.com.
Well, thank you very much for that plug, my friend. You're correct. northwestlibertynews.com.
That's right. We've been watching a lot of that video, and I think it shows absolutely the opposite of what the officials are saying that it shows. I think it shows a clear murder attempt the minute he stepped out of that vehicle with his hands up. We know that 2 FBI agents immediately fired on him. And, I don't care who you are. If somebody's firing on you, your adrenaline's going to start pumping, and you're going to start yelling and screaming, and, it's that fight or flight thing. I can't even imagine what Mr. Finicum was thinking when he stepped out of that vehicle, and he was shot at immediately with his hands up. I can't even imagine it. So I guess none of us would ever know what we would do, what we would say, how we would react, unless we were in a position like that. And Mr. Finicum was a very honorary person. He just was honorary in nature, but he was a good man. He was really a good man. And I can tell you that even the mainstream media people that were there fell in love with him and respected him. And they were heartbroken when they found out that it was Lavoy Finicum that had been killed in that convoy. They were heartbroken, and some of them reacted. I won't mention names because I don't think it's appropriate, but even in mainstream media, some of them reacted very angrily and were just devastated and in shock, as everybody else was. Whether or not they could report that is another thing, but believe me, there were a lot of broken hearts, and it wasn't just an independent media that night.
Sure, and so one of the things I just posted just a few hours ago is Ammon's attorney, Mike Arnold, after this synced video, which really confirms everything that Victoria Sharp said, everything that Shauna Cox says, which is her video. I watched it, and I literally got goosebumps as he exited the vehicle. You can see him. They have him raising his hands. And yes, he's saying, just go ahead and shoot me. But that's what he was telling them before. Either we're going to go see the sheriff or you're going to shoot me, but you're not going to sit here and hold me up. And I really do think somebody put their finger on it and saying what he did was he drew their fire to him away from the people in that vehicle. I think that's exactly right. I didn't know Lavoy. I certainly wouldn't have agreed theologically with him, But I agree with the stand that he took about the land and about dealing with the sheriff and standing and you know, I read people who would say, well, they told him to get on the ground. Yeah, they did, but that's not a reason to shoot somebody. I mean, I've been through CWP classes. That's not a reason to shoot somebody. You do that when there is a real life-threatening situation. No gun was pulled. He wasn't reaching. I don't buy their story for one bit. And Mike Arnold is exactly right in saying the FBI was not honest. We cannot trust them. We cannot trust the BLM. We can't trust any of these people in the DC government. So I'm right with you. I really am.
Well, let me tell you guys something about that. I mean, I was up there at the site. We went there. We looked at it. When the boy got out of that vehicle, he stepped into a snowbank, a soft snowbank. He sunk at least 3 feet into the snow. There was no getting on his knees. There was no getting down, you know. That is something that they also left out, that he most likely was unable to move after so many steps, you know, and especially when he stepped out of that vehicle, that snowbank was huge that he plowed into. And so when they made that order for him to get down, I don't think that was even possible for him to do.
Yeah, and his autopsy shows that he was shot in the back 3 times, and you can hear the shots. They come one right on top of the other. They were a little different than people had speculated. There's no doubt.
Oh boy, we're out of time here. Sorry about this, Deb, to cut you off so quickly. We just come to the end of the broadcast. We so much appreciate you joining us, and I heard some prayers, thoughts and prayers go out to Pete and his dilemma. And we certainly, as things come up, we'd like to have you back on the broadcast to give us updates. For my broadcast co-host Tim Brown, this is James White saying, we'll see you next time on Northwest Liberty News. Deb, thanks so much.
You're welcome.
All right, guys, that was the interview that Eric tried to get going and tried to. Here, let me get the mic a little bit closer. There we go. That was the interview that Spitfire tried to get going before he had all those issues. And I'm sorry for any of the background noise. My speaker is close to my computer, which the fan is going on. So now it's time to have Spitfire get his ass in here. Come on, Spitfire. Okay, come on, let's get Jeff. Let's get Mike. Come on. Let's get somebody in here, guys. I can't do this alone because this isn't my show. This is Spitfire's show. He's probably he's probably punched the crap out of his computers by now. Let's see if Eric can even get on. He should be able to. Oh, you just saw my wife go by. Wife waddle by or whatever it is. Here we are. Spitfire. Here's your show, man. Say what you need.
What's happening, Lynx?
Not much. I just saw you were having so much trouble. I was like, I have to get it going because message from Deb is important.
Yeah, I felt that needed to get out. Thank you, man. I had to get out there immediately. What she said, I thought it was really powerful and a great message. And it goes along with what Pete and Deb wanted to create, which was a network where everybody, carried their weight from the neck up and did their part. And that's just great that we have a community of people that can continue to get the message out. I'm upgrading my internet, my broadband, going with a different company, getting a separate router. So we shouldn't have this type of problems anymore. I'm going to stay on here for a little bit. Then I'm just going to let you roll, Links. Maybe somebody else will come on too with that link. And finish up, I'm gonna try to get in touch with Doom so he can perform some necessary upgrades to my computer too.
All right, sounds good. I'll grab the link and I'll send it over to Mike because he said send him a link, and I'm going off of Facebook, Mike. So that's if I can find you. Holy shit, I got too many people.
Mm-hmm. But that's this is, like I said, this is great that we can all come together and make sure that the message continues to get out there. I want to thank everybody who's followed Spitfire and the Sentinels for so long, and all the people in the chat room. We love you to death. You know that from watching Pete's live stream that there's definitely some nefarious forces messing with us. So we're going to do everything we can to bolster our defenses and come back on the offense, spitting truth without a doubt. Any questions in the chat room that anybody wanted me to answer before I
Well, you got a lot of people saying hi Spitfire. Any questions, guys? Any of them?
Yeah, updates about anything.
We're losing viewers. Must be my ugly mug.
They're like, Deb, we got Deb. We came for Deb. We got Deb. Now we're not that.
Oh, I would love to get Deb on, and I'm actually happy. I must have hit the big time because GM, the Orange Handman, Kenny, he actually called me today. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, if you give him a call right now, I bet he'll freaking call in.
That's the thing. I got another copyright infringement on the hold music on the conference call.
Never had that happen in my life.
I know, and I'm getting it twice. There's Mike. Hey, Mikey.
What's going on, guys?
I was just giving updates, telling them that I'm going to change my broadband, get a separate router, and come back with some serious offensive truth spitting when we're all done upgrading there. It's been a gradual process, but I know there's been a lot of shows that have left the YouTube format because of these types of problems.
Yeah, they got you. I'm quite sure I'm next.
Well, we've been pretty fortunate for the most part for a while here. I know that there's been lots of different stations that have gone off YouTube because of having issues like this. So hopefully with some of these upgrades we'll be good to go on YouTube and not have any further problems. So we're gonna stay in the fight, and we're all gonna freaking do our part to get the message out there, whether you like it or not.
That's right. That's right. Bring it.
Hell yeah, and I'm thinking about using, since Mike's got Mike Hawk and Eric's got the whole welcome to the resistance, I'm thinking of using Wake the Nation.
Wake it up.
Mike Hawk. Oh man.
you got that one is like a guaranteed that's a Mike Soror thing now.
It's never going to go away. I could write fantastic books and broadcast fantastic shows, and will always be known as Mike Hawk.
Mike Hawk.
Now,
Mike Hawk.
Jeremy Voisom in here is saying we need to challenge the listeners to each go to Pete Santilli show /donate. $5. Just $5. Everybody who can put $5 in there. Help out Deb. Deb will be helping out Staff Sergeant Mo also. I mean, it's a patriotic help right here, guys.
It's just paper, and they need it. I donated. I dropped 10 in.
Yeah, and those links are always how you can donate and how you can write any of these Patriots is always below our videos on Spitfire and the Sentinel. So below each post, you can find out how to do that.
Well, I copied and pasted all your stuff, Eric, so it's on this one too.
they look forward to the letters, and they need to know that there's plenty of them still standing up there for the Constitution and for what's right. We need to continue to push the message out there to people. I mean, that interview was spot on because, you know, Pete was a good guy. You know, if people were having issues with some tyrannical overstepping of ridiculous agencies like the BLM have no right, according to Article 1, Section 8, Paragraph 17, to own any land outside that 10-mile radius, and now they're owning, you know, they own half of Oregon now. They own 85% of California. It's out of control. And Pete was, you know, those people were falling in love with Pete. It was about 60-40 is what Deb said. And the 40% were begging Pete not to go. He was exposing all kinds of corruption there, and how you know, a quarter of the town worked for the BLM. But I mean, Pete's a good guy, and it's just, I'm going to stay off these troll pages now. I'm just going to block them. I'm not even going to bother commenting on their pages anymore because they're not even worth it. And some of them are just data mining and trolling. You know, I'm sure put me on a list, another one, really. So whatever, but I'm just going to ignore them because they bring you down, and you don't need to see that stuff because we know Pete and Deb are great patriots, great American people in Marine, and the whole team here doing what's right, but they're the ones paying the price.
I thought of this. I'm a member of the American Legion. American Legion helps all veterans, American veterans, if they can. I'm calling out, if Kenny is hearing this, or if somebody who's close to Deb is hearing this, contact your local American Legion and see if they can actually help Pete in his defense, money-wise.
He's got a dynamite team right now, man. He's got a dynamite team right now coming in. All-star team coming in. To his
Excellent. I thought about that earlier today. I'm like, wait a minute. The American Legion is supposed to be helping vets, whether they're part of the American Legion or not. So why not? Why won't they help? Why not have them help Pete? Because he is a Marine vet. It is an American vet right there.
Well, this is going to be, as Pete said before he left, he said this is going to be a history-making event, and we're seeing that unfold. I don't really think that he thought it was going to unfold with him sitting in a prison cell right now for God knows how long without bail, but it definitely is going. This is going to set a precedent for what we're going to see in the future as far as censoring in our First Amendment rights to speak, as long as we're not calling for violence, you know. And it's just these patriots were peaceful. They were educating people, and once the people started getting really educated, it was time to pull the rug out from under them and, you know, take out one of the greatest patriots we've ever seen. And now they're taking out others, and we're gonna have to see what happens. I'm gonna have to take off in a sec, guys, but I'm gonna leave you with this, okay? I gave props to David Knight, and I have to take them all away now because apparently I'm sure he's under orders to make sure to discredit Pete Santilli, because on that show, did you see it, Mike, what he said? Did you go back and see it?
I did go back and watch it, and I tell you,
called him a shill reporter when him and Pete Santilli were freaking arm in arm in the front lines at the Bundy Ranch, and now he's saying that because you know, maybe if he sells Pete out, then they won't come for him, because if Pete is in freaking prison with no bail right now and all that, and all these other patriots are for less, there's not even anything being brought at David Knight right now, and I'm not saying I want it to be brought to him, you know, like these other freaking stations that are just saying we should lock up more of them, Spitfire and what do you call it, Earring Boy and Bug-a-Bear and the transgender people over there. They all need to be locked up too. And you know, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to see him locked up. But what he did to Pete, you know, throwing him under the bus like that, I almost fell over.
If you guys are wondering, any of our listeners are wondering about how corrupt the government and the system is, think of this. Pete Santilli and a lot of patriots who peacefully assembled using their constitutional rights just to make a point, and they were peaceful, are in prison, and many of them without bail, without being released, and they're just being slammed. But murders, rapists, convicted terrorists from other countries and stuff, or even people from America that are pretty much, in my opinion, scum of the earth, are getting out on technicalities, on bail, and or just being flat out released. Now that's corruption, in my opinion.
It's the worst form. It's the first step any tyrannical government takes is to silence the press, and the next step is to come after the guns. First, Second Amendment, 1, 2, right in a row. And they said Pete went out of his way to help people and to stick up for people, and he's a great guy, and he's a hero in a lot of people's eyes, and we're not going to let his freaking name go down in flames like this. We're going to keep him in the forefront of our minds and use him as inspiration. I mean, for God's sake, people, get up and do something. This man's sitting in freaking prison now, away from his family, away from his friends, in prison. He's sitting there and not knowing what his future beholds right now. So we need to write him. We need to support him. We need to send donations when we can. Because when he comes out, a man like Pete is going to get stronger in there. And when he comes out, we're going to freaking with kids. We're going to kill him with you.
All right, somebody just got a notification.
Well, I tell you one thing, man. I had very little respect for InfoWars as it was recently, and now I have none. None.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened with me, man. You know, I thought maybe they're going to turn the corner and try to come together, but you know, shill reporter, that was crossed the line there. All right, guys. Well, you have a freaking awesome night, Mike. Sweet show today, as always. Lynx, thanks for helping out, and thank everybody for coming out here and supporting life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Amen. God bless, bro.
Yeah, bless.
You might Spitfire.
Yes, sir.
Leave off with your signature move.
Peace.
Well, that was a lot shorter than I expected, but okay.
Yeah, it's a little stressed out, man. I would be. I'm quite sure my show is gonna be next. That's how it usually goes.
And I'll be going with it too. I mean, anybody who starts gaining viewership and starts gaining people actually waking up, they're like, we need to shut them down.
Well, they can shut me down online all they want, but ain't gonna stop me from getting out in the community and talking.
Well, one of my main messages in my videos, and I'll even use Spitfire 2.0 here. Everybody needs to get out there and get the message out. Everybody needs to do what they can to wake people up peacefully. I mean, the more people that are awake, the harder it is for them to squash all of us down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Some pretty tyrannical shit going on, and it's happening right in front of our eyes on a daily basis. And even if people think it's not affecting them personally, believe me, it is. It is. And you've got a child on the way. I've got 4 children. There's, none of us want to see I don't want to hand them the responsibility of, hey, guys, country's yours now. Welcome to a dictatorship because your dad chose not to do anything.
Yeah, we're not doing this for us or for us to have a better America personally. We're doing it for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren and all the lineage further on. We're trying to make a better world, starting with this country, right here for all of our children.
Right on, man. And there's a saying right now that's going around by a certain presidential candidate that's talking about let's make America great again. You really want to make America great again, then clean out the White House, clean out all the trash in Congress, clean out the federal government. Let's start over and let's give it back to the people where it belongs. because I'm so sick and tired of. I watched some of the debates tonight. Believe me, I sit through that crap just so I can hear what's going on. You know, that's good homework, you know, for us to be able to call out these people. And, you know, here I am,
I
man.
still say no confidence.
No, that's exactly what, yeah, me too. That's what I'm voting, no confidence. And, you know, I'm on day, going on day, well, now it's almost midnight. It's actually been 4 days. I've slept 3 hours. Like I am just completely drained, completely exhausted. And, but it's all worth it. You know, it is to me. It's all worth it. And, I'll rest up on the weekend, man. But there's too much going on right now. You know, I can't sleep. I really can't. That's how heavy my heart is right now. You know,
I honestly have trouble sleeping myself now. I used to be able to fall asleep within about 10-15 minutes, no problem. Now, so many things are running through my head, it takes me about an hour or two.
right. And you know, I don't think, you know, and I'm not like doubting the sincerity and the passion of all of us. I'm just, you know, but you know, we are doing it for the future because this country is so fucked up right now and so ass backwards that all we can do by the time our kids take over is to try to set a new foundation. We've got so much work and it goes so deep that, you know, all we can do is at least when it's our time to go and it's our time to pass the torch, hopefully we can, you know, rest in peace knowing that it's going to be in good hands because the next generation is a very, very, very messed up generation coming up. And they've designed it that way. They've made it that way. Just as we have. These kids aren't going through anything, are being exposed to anything more than we were. There's more of it. You know what I mean? Like there's more technology. The access is, you know, a lot bigger now. We didn't have the cell phones. Man, I still thought I was cool because I used to walk around with a pager on my pocket, you know, in high school. And we were carrying small computers in our pockets, you know. As far as the Constitution goes, it's not being taught in school. The first plan was to stop the kids from learning how to read and write in cursive. You know, you take that away, then you take the Constitution away.
Because it was written in cursive also, yeah.
You know, and that's my kids know, you know, they can't memorize the Constitution. Hell, I can't recite word for word the entire Constitution. But and I learn from it every day, new things every day. But I take the time with my kids and we spend 20 minutes a day, dude. That's it. 20 minutes a day. Just going over just important things in the Constitution. And I may have to use different scenarios for them because my youngest is 12. And of course, if I was to sit and read from the Constitution to him, he'd probably look at me like, what the hell is he reading? You know? But I mean, dude, my 12-year-old knows how to use my phone better than I do. You know, there's this great divide and this design to do it, and they have been successful. But man, evil doesn't triumph. That's not how this works. You know, we're going to win this battle for our children one way or another. If we don't win it, our children will certainly be equipped well enough to be able to win it, or their children will. But you're not going to kill the American patriotic dream. You're not going to be able to shut the hearts of the patriots that deep down have just been born and blessed with good intentions, and that's what we are.
Yeah, it's these words keep on running through my mind. The only way for evil to win is for good men to do nothing.
That's it. That's true.
And that's why you, me, Eric, Damien, Deciduous Falling starting up, Mad T. I mean, all of us are getting out there and trying to wake people up because we are doing something. May not be huge and dramatic like a lot of people are expecting, but if every single one of our broadcasts wakes up 1 to 10 people and they go out and wake a few people up, we've done our job for every broadcast.
That's how it's going to start, you know. Yeah, we know that things are bad right now. We know that things are real bad, but instead of letting the bad have a domino effect, let's start flipping that negative, man. If we can, it's possible. We can flip that negative into a positive and watch those, you know, let's stand those dominoes back up one at a time that were knocked over. We can do this. And I really believe we can do this. I'm not just saying it. Like, I truly believe it. If I didn't think we could, I'd be the first one to tell you we ain't got a shot in hell, because I'm an honest guy, but we can. And it's about us. It's about the American people. You know, there's a lot wrong. And we've got to stop living in fear. We got to get out of our comfort zone. Don't ever get comfortable. Don't ever.
No, trust me.
You know,
every time I get behind this camera, I'm not comfortable, and yet I let my passion for what I'm saying come through, and evidently it's working because people are listening.
That's because we're all like-minded individuals. We may disagree on some things, but ultimately, it doesn't change the fact we're all united by one foundation right now. That's what I'm talking about. That's that foundation that we're building. It doesn't matter what your religion is or the color of your skin, or if you know, I mean, I'm being honest, dude. I don't care if a guy wants to be a girl and a girl wants to be a guy. That's on them. That has nothing to do with me. I don't care. What I care about is the freedom and the pursuit of happiness. That doesn't guarantee that we're going to be happy, but it allows us to have the pursuit to be happy, to be free.
And honestly, here, I'm just going to put this. This is the foundation that we are on right now. Now, the thing is, items, objects, those aren't the things that'll make you happy in the end. What is what is going to make you happy is loved ones, being able to pursue that happiness, having a job, because this corruption has knocked down so many private area jobs that you have to work for the government now, or you have to live off the government. It's having a family, knowing what's really important. And what's really important is in here, guys. In my opinion, this is a good foundation to start on. So that's just my opinion on that.
And it's a very good one. It's a very good one. And let's, you know, happiness starts from within ourselves too. You know, as we chose to be independent media, which, you know, obviously doesn't pay a lot, folks. In fact, it doesn't pay at all. But we chose to do this. So voluntarily, we took on, as far as I'm concerned, that responsibility to not necessarily be the voice for people, but we have a responsibility to put truth out there. we have the responsibility to do all we can to unite as many as we can, and good things can happen. We took on that responsibility, and we took on the oath of the Constitution as well. But we've got to look in the mirror every day as human beings and ask ourselves, is there anything that I did today that has helped this country? And it could be very minute. You could say, you could be somebody that, you know, well, I saw, you know, a guy on the side of the road and he was really cold and I had an extra pair of gloves or even a pair of gloves that I had on, and I took them off and I let him warm his hands. I gave him the gloves. You know, you get enough of those little minute, that seems minor maybe to you, that just made that guy's world that little bit. And then little acts like that can have a good domino effect on people. You know what I mean? Starting to stand them back up. And we've all got faults. We've all made mistakes. And I tell you, talking to as many patriots as I do on a daily basis, and you know, even just in the chat rooms or on the phone, I got to tell you, man, every one of us has gone through something very traumatic, it seems like. And we've all, whether it be self-induced like me, I had a bad drug problem. Obviously I ran into some pretty dark places, or was, you know, done by somebody else. But we already know what it's like to be cut and to heal and to scar, you know, and I think that's why we are as tough as we are. Our courage makes us tough. Our muscles don't make anything, you know, it's our heart. Our heart is what makes us as tough as we are. And I've never been more happy to be part of a team like I am now. Like, I'm 37 years old, and for the first time in my life, I feel like I'm a part of a community that I've never, ever, ever felt or known before. And that's the honest to God's truth. That's the honest to God's truth. You know?
Well, for me, I look at it all my life. I've been an outcast, and I went through a lot of tough things. Not as tough as a lot of people, but more tough than some.
The FBI show up at your house is a pretty damn tough. That's a pretty tough thing to deal with, I would say. I haven't dealt with that one.
Honestly, I will have to say what was tougher for me is when I came back to start talking and, you know, keep up with the show. I was banned. I was thinking, oh shit, what did I do? That was the toughest part there for me.
Tough.
The FBI I could deal with.
Yeah, that was tough for us too, because at that moment everybody has to go into self-protect mode, you know. And but you know what, we talked it through, dude, and we got to the bottom of it, and I'm glad we did. That's, you know, at the moment it was scary for everybody, and I'm sure it was way scarier for you. But with everything that's been happening and the people we know that are getting picked up one by one, you know, I mean, not one by one, really, I should say in bunches, these sweeps,
Yeah.
you know, but that's the humanity in us, man, is that we came together after we all took a deep breath and said, okay, what the hell happened? You know? So I'm glad it worked out that way. And if anything, man, we all learned from that event, you know?
Oh yeah. Do you have a warrant? Nope. Then you can't come in.
Yep. Or as Kenny said, Kenny always said, I wouldn't say a damn thing to any of them fuckers. And I can't wait. Well, Saturday, I can't wait. I'm going to be hanging out. GMN Ken's going to be at the rally with us in Bay City.
Oh,
super geek.
Nice.
For that, we're going to come back here and he's going to do a live interview. And he's got some groundbreaking information, man. And I'm so honored to be the one to sit down with him and do that and spend the day with this guy. And of course, it's always great to see Michelle too.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Well, an analogy I use a lot, and if you think about it, it's true. The best way to make a sword, to make a strong tool, is to take the raw material, which we all start out as. You put it in the forge. You heat up to get the impurities out. That's some bad things that happen to you, trials, whatever you want to call them. You come out and and that metal gets pounded into shape over and over again, goes back into the heat. I mean, it goes through a lot, but when you're done, you have an extremely strong, extremely useful tool right there.
Right. And how cool is that, man? I love that. That's what I mean. That like learning that, like that's just a new way for me to look at things. That's why I absolutely love this because, you know, there's never there's never enough knowledge, man. There's never enough ways to look at things. And Lori,
Yes, Lori, we love you and we mention you a lot. You just aren't here for it.
yeah, Lori is the American badass. That's what I call her.
She's the trucker chick.
Lori, and she has a cat that likes to throw like, you know, peanuts and stuff at her when she's on the air. So she's got that cat trained to be an American feline badass.
She's got it trained to be a catapult.
A catapult.
I mean, think about it. I mean, if it ever does come to war, if she's got a few hand grenades, pull the pin, have the cat knock it over towards the enemy.
Yeah, yeah. Like my dog, I can't do anything with her. She just lays. She's so lazy. You're such a sore on society. No.
No, I can almost guarantee you if she ever saw any of your family in danger, Mike, she would go straight for the nuts of the ones that were trying to cause the danger.
Oh yeah, my dog is awesome. She's a boxer and a pit. She's a Brendel pit and boxer mix, and she's very smart. I'm quite sure I could teach her how to fire a gun. We got to see how that works yet.
If nothing else, have them put a like a 5-pound lead ball in the back of her tail, and she can knock the crap out of people.
Yeah, dude, that's one thing that when I got her, because she's a pit bull and a boxer mix, everyone's like, you got to cut her tail. I'm like, no, I'm not cutting her tail. What's the purpose? Oh, she looks mean. No, I got to cut my dog's tail off so she looks mean. You know?
That's kind of like shaving your head into a mohawk. I mean, come on.
That's what I was just going to say.
Wait.
Man. Who the hell does that? Who gives himself a mohawk at 37 years old? Come on.
It has been great. I think we've got a lot of the message out there. Mike, your show's been great. I like listening to Mad T also. I like listening to Lori whenever she finally manages to get into any shows, which lately it's been quite a bit. I'm happy about that. I like listening to Damien, and I'm looking forward to listening to all the other Patriots out there that are going to start their own shows.
Yeah, and it's really cool that we got together tonight too. Just random people. We all got together in a Google Hangout, and it was good to actually do that. I think I want to start doing that nightly, man, just for like an hour. Just get random people, whoever from the chat room or wherever, that wants to get in a hangout and just have an open talk. And I mean, we can't get together face to face in person all the time, but we could sure do it over hangouts, man. Let's get to know each other, man. Let's build this community.
Yeah, you could always start, especially with this group we had tonight, you could always start the Huff Puff Pass group.
Right. Yeah, man, it was a good time. It's always a good time. There's a lot of people in the independent media, man, that I would, you know, I like talking to. There's some good people out there. Then you've got, you know, people that are, you know, in the alternative media that just want to do nothing except for cause more division. And I'm not wasting my time anymore on that. I don't even, you know, I don't know.
That reminds me.
I have one in the room right now, actually.
Alternative media?
Yeah.
Who do
Yeah.
we got?
There's a guy in the room right now that says that the video that I did for the anonymous veteran that wrote me that email, and I put that video together and just narrated it. Remember? Yeah, there's a guy in the room right now. He's the one that told me it was that this video was a terroristic threat.
No, it was just an old veteran that actually wanted to get his voice heard.
Yeah, and then his buddy, Islamic State, is what he calls himself, says he's turning me into the FBI. Just starts flooding my YouTube. Like, seriously, grow the fuck up, man. Why can't we be on the same team? I don't understand. You know?
Oh,
I don't get it.
Whoa. Echo. Basically on the on Facebook, there's a group that is kind of the moderators of the group are trying to let the people of the group decide if they're going to let Mike Emery in because he's not of Oregon and that kind of stuff. I said bring him in, and one of the people in there said, well, I don't know if we should have any media in here because I would feel like I'd have to watch what I have to say and what I post and stuff. And I let him know, you do realize there's alternative media already in here. You do know that everything you post in Facebook, everything is automatically sent straight to an FBI a federal database. Even if you delete it, it's still sent and it's there. Nothing you say is really private.
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I said, it's a sad thing because I don't know. There's a lot of good people out there. You know, and the sad thing is, dude, is I watch, the people that have come at me, I take the time and I go in and I watch their videos and they've got really good stuff, man. I even like their videos and stuff, trying to reach out, and instead it's just sometimes it's like it's hitting a dead end, man. You can't get through. And I think a lot of their stuff is great, but instead they choose to attack, and it's ridiculous. Well, Chaos thinks the video's dangerous. That's fine. No, don't even delete his messages. Let him have his free speech, man.
Exactly.
Let him have his free speech. I don't mind. He calls it dangerous.
Well, if you look on any of my comments, I haven't deleted any. They're all still there, even the ones that hate me.
Somebody did. I'm just saying that it's considered dangerous because at the end of that video, I read, what the veteran said, and he said that he's gonna, start firing back. Now, talking to the veteran before I even posted this or made this video, he said his vision of firing back was with the Constitution and with the voice he has left, because he's 74 years old and he's not physically able to go out there, but it was taken out of context. That's fine. I understand where people would think, hey, that didn't sound good. But for this Islamic State dude, who has the fucking, balls to call himself Islamic State, have a 3% logo, and going around and threatening to turn people in to the FBI, and then you go and you fucking check out who this guy subscribed to, and it's everybody that's giving me shit, and it's like, seriously, man, there's a lot wrong with that kind of shit. Like, we could be doing a lot more, you know, than what we're doing. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand the reasoning behind it. You know?
I do. The reasoning is fear. Think about it. You, me, Eric, we've been curtailing what we want to say and saying it in a different way. They go from saying it from a different way to just turning around and attacking people that have the balls enough to keep on saying the truth instead of hiding their heads in the sand. It's fear. That's all it is, in my opinion.
Well, with you know, with some of them, but with you know, with
some
most
of them
though,
are full sheeple.
Well, and the thing is, man, is that there's a lot of, you know, oh, I didn't even know you that you did a video, Chaos. See what I mean? I didn't even realize that I was added into a video, Chaos. I didn't even realize that. So I'm gonna have to check it out. I apologize. I haven't caught it.
I will go look at it too myself, Chaos, because I would like to know everybody's voice. Because
oh, here you go. Look it. Here's this dude that just came in right now. This is what I'm talking about. This motherfucker is subscribed to the same goddamn fucking tree. This dude, this Joker guy, this Saturn or whatever. That's the same fucking asshole that comes in under Rico Suave, because he's got nothing better to fucking do than to come in here and start talking about lube and all kinds of bullshit. The dude fucking blows up my YouTube every fucking day. Every day. For what? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I don't get it. Like, is this motherfucker paid to do this? Because he won't fucking come on a show, or he won't want to have a civil conversation. You know what I'm saying? They never do. Now, Chaos, I'll have to check out that video, man, and you know, and I'll listen, man. Of course I will. But
and
as far as fucking, you know, as far as the rest of these people, like this fucking lube tube guy, who's what I call him, you know, fuck him. I'm not going to waste my time on him, you know?
For Chaos, I want to say I've got your page right now, and I see your icon, and I'm going to have to say kudos for that. You've got the nuclear dynamite from Minecraft as your little icon. I think that's fucking awesome. I'm a Minecraft player myself.
Yeah, that's, you know, Jeremy had it right, man. I think that a lot of these people are bored. You know what I'm saying? See what I mean? I'm not paid. I'm a bum like Yeshua. That's great, true man. Good for you with the all-seeing eye. As you know, it doesn't matter. But Chaos, yeah, definitely, man. I mean, I'll check out the video for sure. I honestly did not realize that you made one, and I'll definitely, you know, take a listen to it. Absolutely. I've, you know, absolutely no problem with that. And I can see where you think some of the stuff is, you know, the end of that message. I can see where you would, you know, where you would think it would be, you know, it's taken out of context, and I probably should have added to it, but I didn't want to add or take away any of this veteran's message. I didn't want to. I figured this man was a veteran. He served in, you know, this country, and he's had some pretty close calls and seen some pretty bad stuff. And, you know, that's why I didn't want to add or take away from it, you know, but, now that you know, I mean, maybe I can go back in, maybe I'll talk to him. I don't know. I just did it out of respect for this veteran. Is exactly what I did. And, so Chaos, I personally have no personal, beef with you at all, man. I really don't. But these other guys like Rico Suave and the Connors report, of all people.
Yeah, guys. I'm just gonna say what we got going here. This is a Connors report, and
That's pretty much what he sounds like to me.
Well, the thing is, man, is like, I don't even know the dude, you know? I've never known the dude. No, I know that Chaos. No, he's not a fan of Pete. All right. And he thinks Deb is an ugly hoe or something like that. That was on what I get it. Whatever. Me, I absolutely think Pete is a great guy and I absolutely adore Deb. You know, I do. But it's, as far as Connor's report goes, that
for me, honestly, I'm gonna have to say,
the guy. You know what I mean? And I don't
Right.
know the guy, but he fucking comes on my, dude. I do. I delete the retarded comments. Now I don't even look at the notifications when people do comment because I'm just sick and tired of you know what I'm saying? I'm sick and tired of I shouldn't have to waste my time dealing with that. So unfortunately, I don't even look at my comments anymore. I just don't. What's the point? That's time wasted.
Yeah. The thing is, you may not like Pete, you may hate him, you may love him. It doesn't matter right now. Pete is pretty much the head of the biggest issue we have right now. The freedom of speech, freedom of press. That is the biggest issue. If they keep on blocking that, then we might as well all just go hide, because they act like Spitfire said, or Mike, I can't remember who did. First Amendment, then Second Amendment, and then they're just going to keep going until all the amendments are gone.
Right. Yeah. Like, and it's, I mean, everything that we've gone through, and I'm sure we all do. No, and you know what? Chaos just made a good point, and he really did. Just because you don't like somebody, we should be able to talk. I agree with that. I do. Nobody can force anybody to like anybody. Okay. There's people out there that don't like me, and there's quite a few people I don't like, but I'm willing to put stuff aside. Like, these are the differences that I'm talking about, man. Like I said, I'm no matter what people think about Pete, I stand strong with Pete. I stand strong with all of the protesters. I stand strong with the Finicum family. They're all wonderful people. I stand strong with Deb and Mo and Kenny. And, that's just the way it is. I'm not going to change my view on that just because somebody else doesn't like them,
Well, it'd be boring if we all liked the same thing, we all did the same thing. It'd be boring. Diversity helps us grow.
Right. And to be honest with you, man, I don't even like that I've come out and said what I've said tonight. That just shows that I'm tired and I'm stressed and I'm exhausted, because 9 times out of 10, dude, I don't talk bad about anybody, no matter how bad they are towards me. I just don't, and I'm actually kind of disappointed in myself, because it's like I sunk to the level, and I apologize to the people that are listening, because people know that's not me. That's not what I like to do. But I'm at a point now where it's like, if you like me, that's great. If you don't, that's fine. But if you're in the middle, just go away. I don't know. I don't know,
It's
man.
all
I don't
right,
know how
Mike.
else to say it, man. I look, this country's in trouble right now. And that should be our number one focus right now. The federal government is murdering and imprisoning people, for no reason.
And making people homeless.
No justifiable reason. And this is what we're spending our time doing.
Sorry, I was just saying it's justifiable to them for more power. That's what it is.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, that should be our number one priority right now, is to realize that there's something going on. Something very, very wrong is happening. We are in the and I'm telling you, and I'm saying this from my heart, and doesn't matter what people's beliefs are or not, just my belief here. We're in the threshold of hell right now, man. Things are collapsing at a rapid rate. And I don't think we should be wasting any more time debating each other and screaming and yelling at each other and going after each other, because you know what, man? At the end of the day, we all want the same fucking thing. And there are bigger fish to fry right now, man. We've got sheriffs that are infiltrated now. Like we're losing a lot of things right now. And that's my challenge. Jeremy had a good challenge. Everybody, donate $5. And I thought it was a good challenge, and I did so. Now my challenge is, let's put aside our petty differences right now. We've got a young girl that made a video, Lavoie's daughter, at her age, 17, 18 years old, saying, put aside our petty differences and let's stand for America again. Let's stand together. That's someone who's 17, 18 years old, who watched her father get murdered in cold blood. And she is saying, let's put our differences aside. How courageous is that young girl? How amazing is that young girl?
I will honestly say she's got bigger balls than I did at that age.
She's running the ranch. She's taking care of what her father used to. And this is what I mean. I don't want Lavoie's death to be in vain. And by going after each other and attacking each other, that's exactly what we're doing, because he spent his time educating people. And I don't want his death to be in vain. And I certainly, if I was the Finicum family, sure wouldn't want somebody representing and saying they stand with me when all they're doing is going out there and attacking people. That's not what the Finicums want. It's not. We're going to have differences. We are. We're going to. It's just the way it is. It's how are we going to handle it? For every action, there's a reaction. 90% of the time, most people don't remember the action. They remember the reaction.
Oh, yeah. And like I said in the chat, there's going to be no converting, no changing people's mind. We all have one common goal. Get America back to the way that our founding fathers wanted it, where the people were in charge and the government was held in check.
Right. But I tell you what, man, I gotta do something. Like, it's to the point where, like, I'm seriously, like, my legs are actually, like, I'm just dragging my feet anymore. I've got to sleep tonight, no matter what it takes. Because I've got to relax, and I have children that count on me too, and they're most important. And if I'm not healthy, I'm going to be no good to them. So I need to take a little bit better care of my health. Besides the girls, they're really on me about it, and I'm sure somebody's going to tattle on me and tell them I was up this late. You watch.
Oh shit, we've got Lori in here. She'll tattle right off the bat.
Oh no,
Karen will too.
No, Lori wouldn't do that to me. Lori wouldn't do that to me because she saw my left nipple. That's why.
Oh, there you go.
That's a bond that you just don't get. You can't break that.
And there Spitfire comes in. We were just calming things down. Yeah. Oh, yeah. My wife asked, "Do you want a 2-week-long cold, Mike?"
No, man. I just got over the flu. Remember?
Right. So get some rest. I would sing you my lullaby, but I think that'd give you nightmares.
I'd probably stay awake, bro.
No, my lullaby is kind of creepy. So yeah, you don't want it.
No, I don't want that. Hey, listen, give your wife a hug and a kiss and tell her we're all rooting for her, and it's good news what we heard today. Very good news.
8 out of 8. Hell yeah.
So congratulations to both of you. We love yous very much. And
All right. Any final words, Mike?
yeah, good night.
Yeah. Well, that'll work. I will sign off with saying this: seek the truth, speak the truth, and be the truth. And wake the nation. Have a good night.